If you're going through a spiritual awakening, then you may be beginning to notice that it's not all fun and games. There can be many intense, strange, and bizarre side effects to spiritual awakening. During this video, I'm going to take you through some of these side effects and what you can do to mitigate them so that you minimize the amount of damage to your mental health, to your physical health, and to your relationships. Because spiritual awakening can actually cause a lot of damage to our lives if we don't have a guidance and if we don't have a community. So let's get started. Some of the more strange experiences or bizarre side effects of spiritual awakening can be visual. So in some stages of the spiritual path, we may notice that our vision becomes a bit more grainy. It can make our vision less clear, which is not so pleasant. But in other stages of spiritual awakening, our vision can become so sharp that it may feel as if we're on a psychedelic journey without having taken anything. And so knowing that your vision can change and that it can actually affect your physical ability to see is very important, because if you didn't know that, you might think that you're going crazy maybe. And so some people also report seeing things that are not there. I personally never experienced something like that. For me, the experience is usually related to the sharpness of the visual perception. So we can also have physical side effects. Physical side effects can include how we walk. So in some stages of the path, you may feel as if you can't walk straight because the ground becomes uneven. But in other stages of the path, you may feel that the earth is pulsating with the beat of your own heart. This is a very bizarre side effect, and it can actually last for weeks, depending upon your own personal inclinations and your personal capacities when it comes to meditation. Other physical side effects that we can have can be related to different types of migraines, different effects on how we perceive food. So your desire to eat, some nausea can be there, different pains and aches and vibrations in different parts of the body, different distortions of your own body perception can also occur. When it comes to emotional side effects, well, this is one of the biggest topics we can talk about, because spiritual awakening can cause the arising of a lot of pain. Let's say past stored trauma, or what Eckhart Tolle calls the pain body. There can be a lot of emotional side effects. So sometimes you may feel, in some stages such as the dark night of the soul, you may experience different, very, very heavy dark feelings. But in other stages of the path, you may experience the abundance of feelings such as love and calm and compassion and really beautiful feelings like joy and happiness and stillness. So it really depends on the different cycles that one goes through during the spiritual journey. Other side effects that we can have can be interpersonal side effects. So these are the most interesting when it comes to bizarre side effects, because spiritual awakening really relates to how we perceive ourselves. As we perceive ourselves less and less as a fixed self, we also start to feel that it can be much easier to connect to other people in some stages of the path, because if you feel that there is less of an I, it feels that we are all connected in some way. So as you're watching me right now, you may see yourself in me, or I may see myself in the people that I'm talking to. But in other stages of the path, you may feel a bit of an aversion to human beings, or a kind of a lack of desire to interact or connect with other human beings, as you may be beginning to see the effects of the ego in various human beings. You may become very, very sensitive to the energies that people bring into the world. And so again, it can vary between very positive and very negative side effects. And it's really helpful to know, because if you didn't know that you could be experiencing all these side effects, you may think that you either have some physical disease, if you're having some physical side effects, or some visual disease, or maybe during the dark night of the soul, it can even be experienced like a depression. So it's very important to know that in different stages of the path, these different types of side effects can arise in your experience. But it will always pass if you continue to practice. And so I also have some tips on what you can do to make sure that these side effects don't harm your life, your physical health, and your mental health, and your relationships. And so let's go into that. The first and very important piece of advice I can give you when it comes to dealing with the side effects of spiritual awakening is guidance. So having some kind of teacher or mentor or a community of practitioners that can help you on your spiritual journey is super important. The Buddha said that spiritual companionship or spiritual friendship is the most important thing on the path. It's not one of the most important things, it's the most important things. And so having a teacher or a mentor is super important. So if you're right now going through this alone, I highly advise you to change that. Another very important quality of mind to cultivate is what we call equanimity. Equanimity is the ability to experience pleasant and unpleasant experiences with balance. And so sometimes our equanimity or our balance of mind may be high, but sometimes our equanimity may be low. So when we experience a lot of reactivity, then our equanimity is actually quite low. And having bizarre side effects is actually a great opportunity to cultivate this quality of mind, this equanimity, this balance of mind. And the way that we cultivate it is by inclining the mind towards balance. So we can't force the mind to be balanced. We can invite it. We can invite our mind in a gentle way to experience pleasant and unpleasant experiences without too much push and pull. But we cannot force it. So we have to cultivate this ability. And this ability is something that if we pay attention to it, and if we mindfully and consciously try to cultivate and develop it, it grows over time. And this is the beautiful thing about equanimity. Another very important thing is to have a regular practice, a regular meditation practice, or whatever it is that you like to practice, but having it daily so that it keeps you steady, it keeps your progress on the spiritual path, and it makes sure that you have time in which you can process and cultivate these different qualities of mind, like presence, like equanimity, like loving kindness and compassion. So having some kind of regular daily practice is super important. So my question to you is, did you have some regular practice today, or yesterday, or the day before that? And if not, you don't have to judge yourself, but maybe it's time to introduce a new daily practice habit into your life. The last important piece of advice I can give you is respect the domains of spiritual practice. And this is a very deep topic, but it means that in some areas of our life, spiritual awakening is very important to discuss and to look at. And in some other domains, such as, for example, if you have a regular job, or if your relationship or your friends are not so aware of what spiritual awakening is, it's actually not a very good idea to bring that into those domains. So respecting the different domains of your life and understanding people's different capacities and different abilities to contain and to understand you is super important. So this has been a short exposition on the different side effects of spiritual practice. If you want more of my help, do click on some of the links below for my free balance of mind training, which can help you cultivate more equanimity and a regular practice. Or you can schedule a free call with me to speak to me personally, or join my free Facebook community, and I'll speak to you soon.